Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live. Thank you so much for watching us live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Don't forget to also go find us on the Instagram and Hive and check out our website, hollywoodmatrimony.com.
And have no fear, if you're not watching this live, we are still in fact alive. You're just watching recorded
Woohoo!
broadcasts at that point.
Yes, there you go. All right, we have movies to talk about, my friends. So let's see, where do we want to go first?
Wherever you'd like to go, my dear.
You want to talk about this one? Because this one I feel like was kind of a while back and we missed it.
Yeah, it was an older one, so we can't.
All right. All right, we are going to start with the movie. Boo, boo, boo. 65, starring Adam Driver. Not to be confused with Mimi.
But they kind of look the same.
Don't they?
No.
All right, so the only thing we knew about this trailer was that possibly landed on a planet we know, and there were dinosaurs.
Or were they dinosaurs?
Don't know. Because according to some people, dinosaurs aren't real.
According to a lot of people.
I don't understand, though. They're in the museums.
Doesn't matter. There's a lot of religious beliefs that do not believe that dinosaurs walked the earth.
It says, though, there were giant creatures.
You can keep saying that, but that doesn't change. There's a lot of things that are said in the Bible that you look at one way and somebody else's perception is different. That's why there's so many things in the Bible that are about perception and what you believe it means.
No.
Yes.
There were dinosaurs. But even so, there's scientific proof.
I'm aware that there's a lot of scientific proof that religious people ignore.
But they go together.
They don't.
Yeah, they do go together.
Religion and science has always been separate.
But they can go together.
Just like they proved evolution.
I don't believe all that.
But see, but science has proven it.
Of which creation, pre-Adamic or our current creation?
That is irrelevant to the discussion. It
depends.
It's proven evolution, but then religious base says no, that's not true. We didn't come from monkeys, or we didn't.
I did not come from the monkeys.
Well, but according to science, you did.
Nah.
But that's the thing, is the perception and your own.
And by the way, I don't think evolution. It's true. It's a theory. It's not been proven that I know.
I'm just saying, there's everything is an interpretation. The whole Bible is an interpretation, and that's why there's so many different religions. That's why there's so many different beliefs in it. Is people interpret everything differently.
Correct. However, dinosaurs are real.
And since I believe the dinosaurs are real.
Did you not see the movies Ice Age? They're so cute. It's real. That's my basis.
The worst argument for dinosaurs I've
Queen
ever heard.
Latifah and what's his name?
We're moving on.
Ray Romano is my basis for fact that dinosaurs exist, or we've also been to the museum.
All right, let's talk about this new movie.
Okay, this is movie 65. So basically, he lands on the planet. Dinosaurs are there, and he's trying to get out. I really liked it.
I thought it was okay.
It was good.
My problem with it was it had all the ingredients to make a really great, exciting, action-packed popcorn flick.
Yes.
Ooh, and popcorn. I felt it was holding itself back. It felt like, I think so the majority of the movie is just Adam Driver and this little girl. I think they could have scrapped the entire little girl story. Not that she was bad or anything, she wasn't. But they could have scrapped that entire thing, and I think it would have made a more compelling film of just him surviving by himself.
Yeah.
Almost like Castaway, but with the dinosaurs and the creatures and whatever.
Maybe.
I think it would have made it more interesting, because that felt more like, hey, we just need another character, or even did a character as an adult person. And I know there's an element of why it connects in the movie and the story, so I understand. It just, I felt like there is plenty of action. There's some great dinosaur effects and stuff, but it never felt super exciting to me, if that makes sense. Not bad. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I feel like it was interesting. It was good. It kept moving and all that. But yeah, there was like a little something. What was the other movie? There's another movie I feel like where some people were going through the woods and like there's creatures are after them. It had a little more suspense or
I know this movie reminded me.
I'm
saying this because it's going to turn people off of it, I'm sure.
Oh.
But this movie reminded me that, what was it called? After Earth, that Will Smith, Jaden Smith movie that's just not that great.
Yeah.
It reminded me of that same story, but infused with dinosaurs. So it stepped it up. and it
But
is
I
fun.
feel like it didn't go to that edge of like real either scare or danger or whatever. It's like kind of there, but
it's like it
almost
was trying to really get some sort of a deep emotional story infused in,
correct.
as opposed to let's just get to the next dinosaur attack. And it needed both for it to be a cohesive story, but people, they have to know when you make a movie like this that people are there for the
I'm there for the
dinosaurs.
dinosaurs.
There's for the action and that kind of story. And so overcomplicating it with some of the storylines. It's not a complicated story, but having so much downtime to deal with that and not enough down time of actually going for the action stuff and the sci-fi stuff, especially for such an interesting take, because we don't really ever get an answer of, like, you know, from what's going on, but they don't
Yeah.
ever have like an explanation of, is this the normal Earth and is all this whatever, is it, you know, you get it from seeing what's happening.
Yeah, we infer that he's
So
on
you-
Earth,
yeah, and you-
prehistoric Earth.
Yeah, and you kind of figure it out, but there's never much beyond that. So there's no big twists and turns. There's no big explanation. There's no change of history because of his arrival here. There's no explanation. Is he from Earth in the future? Is he an alien? And there's nothing. We don't get any of that. So I felt that's the stuff that I would have been more interested in understand of where he came from. Why is he here? All these things, instead of this other story we got that was part of it. But either way, it works for what it is.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's one of those movies that you watch it just for the dinosaur parts and the action, and
And
Adam
he's
Driver's
good in
really
it.
good
Yeah,
in it.
he's
I mean,
good
he's
in
good
it.
in it. That's what I'm saying. Is I think he was robbed a little bit having to share the screen.
Someone's like, I wanted more dino carnage, right?
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. It didn't have enough of that extra.
It kind of went up to the thing and then just kind of stopped there and didn't take us.
Yeah, I didn't hate
over
it by
the
any
edge.
means. I
It was
thought
fun.
it was a fun sci-fi flick. I could watch the movie again. It just
I mean, I wish the little girl had been something else. You know, it just
like a they or
no, like another type
like
of
race or
being
something?
of the planet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was the
to
thing with
add a
her
layer,
too. Is that there was never a
but
real big explanation for her character.
she was just there because she was part of the thing.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, it's like there's no real story of any of it. It's just everything's here. Let's fight dinosaurs asleep, but then we don't find enough dinosaurs. So to me,
Yeah.
it felt like they were building to something that we didn't get. That's where I think it missed. It didn't have that big ending of like, oh, that's why they're connected to this, and that's why she's here, and that's why he crashed here, and then it just. Now let's get off. It was we crashed, we meet each other, we fight dinosaurs, we get off the planet. That's the story essentially.
There you go.
So,
and dinosaurs exist.
yeah.
We're not getting into that argument again.
Yeah. Anyway, 65 is in theaters, but it's also now on early access digital. So if you want to check it out, we paid for it. We did not get it for free. So we pay for movies too, people. So we paid for it and checked it out at home in our lovely living room.
There you go. What's your favorite dinosaur?
The Triceratops.
What's my favorite dinosaur?
The T-Rex. Because you're a cliche. Because you
Fine.
don't think you know any other dinosaur.
What, pterodactyl.
That was the other thing. It was very predictable on certain things. Like you could tell, you mentioned a pterodactyl, there's like a pterodactyl-like scene. But as soon as they landed, like, oh, somebody about to get picked up by that pterodactyl. And a few seconds later, of course, it happens.
Yeah, so I mean, it happens. But I mean, that's what you expect. That's what we know. We weren't there.
I was. That's how old I am now.
Millions of years ago.
My hair is jacked up. Every week on this show, my hair is jacked up.
Okay, where do you want to go?
Wherever you want. Look at the front of my hair. You look all nice and combed, and
because it's Resurrection Day.
That's because she took a shower for once. But
that too, because I was going to go see
normally
Jesus.
she's just grimy.
Well,
and I look like but you just picked me up and said, "Hey, hobo, you want to do a show?" I didn't even change shirts. I just was in my relaxing shirt, and I was like, "Meh, I didn't care."
Yeah. Okay. All right. Where do you want to go?
I don't care. You want to go to this one that you have set up next?
This one?
Yeah, tell us about that since we don't have a review to read.
Someone's being salty over here.
I am.
Hi, friends. This is the movie Paint. I did go see the movie on my own, and I'm getting in trouble because I did not write my official review. So let me tell it right now, and then I'll dictate it back and post it on the line. There you
That's
go.
not how it works.
It's about to work that way. So this is the movie Paint, starring Owen Wilson, not to be confused with his brother. Basically,
who's his brother?
Luke.
There you go.
Basically, it's kind of a comedy spoof on Bob Ross,
Not Bob White.
Not Bob White, but Bob Ross. If you don't know the Bob White story, Lord have mercy.
Nobody would know the Bob White story unless they're in a car with us.
When our child was in elementary school, she's like, "Oh my gosh, this guy came in. He's a magician. His name's Bob White." And then all that week was like, Bob White did this, and Bob White did that.
She said Bob White, and I'm like, why do you keep saying his whole name? Because that's his name,
Bob White, the magician. But that's okay because I call you Bobby Blakey all the time. Anyways, so he is on his local cable access, like PBS show. He's the highest rated thing they have. He does his little paintings, but as time goes on, he's began to paint the same thing kind of over and over, like the same mountain.
Like Bob Ross.
Yeah, just the same mountain over and over. So they bring in a new painter who just is painting all sorts of like alien spaceships.
That was Maya Rudolph, right?
No.
I thought that's who played her.
No, I don't think so. She's not in that. It's Ciara Renee.
I thought it was Maya Rudolph in this.
No, she's not in this movie.
Holy crap!
Sorry.
All right, I'm sorry. I swore that I remember her in the trailer. Oh.
She starts painting crazy things and different things, and we're gonna go to the seashore, and now we're at alien spaceships. I mean, she's just painting all sorts of crazy things, and so the audience really starts to begin engaged with her.
I didn't hear you. Keep going.
Engaging with her, and so basically they let him go, and that's where our story gets really crazy.
So is it one of those? It's like a lot of the weird, quirky people.
It's a lot of weird, quirky people. You find out that he's kind of a womanizer. I didn't know that kind of Bob Ross thing was kind of a womanizer.
I don't know if Bob Ross was a womanizer.
I don't know, but okay.
I like how you just immediately infused that Bob Ross was a womanizer by a movie that has nothing to do with it.
There's a whole thing, a story. There's a separate storyline just about his hair and getting that hairdo, and the hair gets caught one day in the car. And it's pull his hair out. I mean, and it's just...
He said in an interview that the hair did most of the work for the film.
It's hilarious. It is a lot of fun. I would watch it again. I thought it was really
I was
good.
trying to see, and it wasn't playing anywhere, like, close. It was playing in a few places that I could drive over to, but it was, like, for convenience purposes, I didn't have time.
I think the funny thing to me is that that whole PBS cable show kind of thing took on a life of its own in this movie. There was a part where they had the annual telethon and people are calling in, and then they're calling in to see which artist is going to paint a portrait of them. And when it's time for him to paint a portrait, guess what he actually paints?
Just that same
scene again, the same mountain.
Is that the only thing he's able to paint?
No, but it's hilarious.
And
you know how we used to watch the annual telethons, and then they'd have people like dancing or waltzing and stuff, like raising money.
Yes.
But okay, so I watched.
I was annoyed by those.
So I think it did making fun of that their demographic was like age 50 plus, and these were the people, and they would call in, like if they didn't like something, with the seniors UT, if they don't like something, they were on the phone. They were constantly calling the station.
They either fully got your back, or they turn on you.
So it was a fun movie. It is heartfelt. It is emotional. We do have an underlying love story. So I would check it out. I thought it was hilarious.
Cool. Well, I was actually really looking forward to it, but I went to a different screening, so
yeah.
We didn't get to see it at the same time. And I like I said, I'd planned to go see it, but I couldn't find it. I don't know if
I'm gonna sneeze again.
I don't know if it was just certain AMC's got it for some reason.
Maybe.
Alamo didn't get it at all. It didn't seem like, at least not the one near us. So I don't know what to do with.
Oh, that milkshake from Alamo. I didn't have a milkshake this week, did I? I sure as heck
did on Tuesday.
I need to calm the heck down.
Woman.
All right, next movie. Where do you want to go?
Paint is in theaters or in some theaters now, if you can find it.
Do you want to tell me about this one?
Sure.
I'm excited to hear about this.
All right. So the next one is Fist of the Condor, which is the new movie starring Marco Zarrar. Never going to say it right. And hold on, I want to pull something up real quick. So this is, obviously, if you tell from the image, it's a martial arts flick. Marco Zarrar, if you don't know who he is, and you won't be able to recognize him from this photo, most of you would know him right now as one of the henchmen for the main bad guy in John Wick Chapter 4.
He's the really tall dude in the suit.
In that movie, he's got hair and he's got a goatee, and he's Spanish in real life.
Yes, he's the one giving everyone orders in Espanol.
Yeah, but he also was the robot assassin stuff in Machete Kills. He's been an Undisputed.
He's just so tall.
Undisputed 2. He's so been in a bunch of stuff, but he's also done his own movies. and the director Ernesto Diaz Espinoza, who directed this movie, also directed the movies Kiltro, Mirage Man, and The Redeemer with Marco Zerard. So they kind of team up. This is a Spanish movie. They team up. They've done plenty of these martial arts flicks. Mirage Man is like a superhero-like thing. The Redeemer is one of my favorites that he's done, which is a kind of a revenge vigilante thing. And if you buy your copy of the Blu-ray, you'll have a quote from me on the cover of it.
Yes, you're famous.
And then Killjoy is just another martial arts flick. Anyway, this one is kind of a callback to like the 70s, 80s kung fu flicks.
Oh, nice.
Where, somebody's been murdered, there's an ancient scroll, and they're trying to find it. And the whole movie is really just set up for different fighters that are going to come fight him to beat him so they can beat the best person and take this scroll book, whatever it is. And so it's just a bunch of fight scenes with a story. But then it's like he's got a twin brother, and it's one's evil, one's good.
Oh, so it makes all of the things in
it takes everything. Movie. So there's flashbacks when they trained together, when they betrayed the master, and him fighting stuff. I like the movie because I'm a sucker for this kind of stuff. It's not the great movie. It's not.
But you're just watching it for the fight.
Yeah, and even the fights. My problem with the fights in this movie, he's amazing. The problem is our opponents aren't all up to the caliber as he is. Hence, it doesn't always make the fights as exciting. There's some really good ones, but the fights aren't as exciting as they could be because either he's dominating every fight, or the people that are kind of countering. Like the one guy he has probably the longest fight with. After seeing the previous people that actually could kick and punch stuff, the guy he's fighting, I'm like, that guy? It's like you watch all these martial arts people fighting him, and then the last one he's going to fight is like Tim Allen. It's not that, but he's like, I'm just saying,
Tim Allen did karate.
So far removed from the rest of the abilities. The guy did fine in the fight. He wasn't as Marco Zerard, so it was hard to buy into this guy is just as badass as he is. My biggest issue with this movie is it's kind of all over the place because you're trying to figure out which brother did what and which one's now the evil one, which one is he, and which, one of them takes over the other one's alive and his lady, and you're trying to figure out what's what, and then it builds all the way up. So you expect that the brothers are going to fight.
Yeah.
And they never meet each other.
Well, no, because he's the same person.
I don't know. It's not clear. It's pretty much makes it seem like these are two different people because the guy that he fights was working for the other guy. One had hair and one didn't. And then it ends. So I don't know if it was ending because they're doing a sequel on purpose. So it's leaving more out, or if there's some weird metaphor that I missed because I don't speak Spanish.
Oh.
So maybe it's a Spanish metaphor. I don't know. There was English subtitles.
At this point, you should know Spanish.
Well, I can understand a lot of it. I just don't speak it.
Come on.
I refuse to speak it.
You can speak
country.
it.
This is my country.
Yeah.
You learn my language.
Babe.
That's all I had.
Wow.
You can speak
Spanish if you really had to.
It is fine for what it is. I enjoyed it because I love anything Marco Zerard does. I'm a huge fan of his fighting. It's also very impressive and amazing to watch somebody that tall who is that agile, and he's just big, and he's just like still flipping and twisting. And
because even like this kind of stuff. So what you don't know is tall people, you have to get down really low to make it look low.
Yeah, and he can do all of that, and he side flips and kicks, and there's a lot of him stuff on the Wing Chun dummy. And I did find it interesting. Created an entire style system, which is this move, Fist of the Condor, that is supposed to be this unstoppable style. So he's merged a lot of things to make a style for this movie kind of thing.
That's
so
cool.
It's a fine movie. It's not it's a specific type of movie that a specific type of audience, like hardcore martial arts fans that like anything martial arts will probably dig it. Other people be like, this movie is stupid.
Well,
they'll like the action, but that's it. But the movie's available now on Hiya, the streaming service. It's only $3-4 a month if you don't have it. It's got tons of other stuff on it. And then it'll hit Blu-ray and DVD, I think, later this month or next month.
Okay.
So check it out. Fist of the Condor.
Okay, you have to tell me about this now.
You want to do that, or you want to talk about when we saw together? Because there's that. We only have two more, right?
Yeah.
So the one we saw together, or do you want me to do that other one?
No, we'll do that then.
Whatever you want to do.
All right. This is the new movie Air. It's currently in the theater. You should go watch it. It has Ben and Matt back together again, and Viola Davis, and Chris Tucker, who we haven't seen in a while, and who am I missing? I can't see the poster. Oh, and
Jason Bateman.
Jason Bateman, who's the best. I love him in his movies with his 80 fluffy hair.
Yeah,
by the way,
Marlon Wayans.
I was just naming who's on the poster, but yes, Marlon Wayans.
They're on the poster. Chris Messina's on the poster.
Not right now. Not on the one that's on our screen.
Well, that's because you got the cheap poster. I got the real poster right there.
Okay, well, I'm looking at the pictures, not the names. Sorry.
Well, I'm looking. Not everybody's on the picture either, Big. That
I know.
doesn't mean they're not a starring role.
The picture.
Chris Messina's the manager guy, the agent.
I don't know anything about this. I'm just looking at the pictures.
You need to get your life together.
Okay.
Anyway, so the premise of this movie is it's all about the branding of Nike trying to work with Michael Jordan, a young Michael Jordan, to create thing. And at the time, Nike was not a big shoe thing that we are now. They were good for running, and that's about it. They were like the bottom tier shoe back in the day. It's hard to believe that now, seeing how Nike is everywhere. They have their own stores and everything else, but it was not the global empire we all know today.
Yeah.
So did you know anything, or did you have a lot of interest in this movie before we headed into it?
I knew nothing about this story. I was very interested once I saw the trailer that this was like the first time they were kind of doing this kind of thing of creating a line around someone, because now that's what everyone does.
Yeah, now it seems normal.
Yeah, but it was just like, whoa, didn't know that.
Well, it's interesting because one thing that I think, because Ben Affleck directed this movie, and we all know Ben Affleck's become a great director, so it's not surprising the cast he gets or whatever, but it's an interesting direction because it is a sports movie, but without any actual sports in it.
Yeah.
And without the person that the whole thing revolves around is not in the movie. Like, there is a person that plays Michael Jordan in the movie. You never see his face. You never have interaction with him, but you don't need to, because the point of the story are all the players that help put together, and the only connection really him would be his mother predominantly and his father.
Correct.
And Viola Davis plays that, and it's interesting. I think I was telling you that I was watching an interview with Matt Damon, I believe, and he was saying that when Ben Affleck was talking to Michael Jordan, he was telling him the important things, the three major things that had to be in there. One was the importance of his mother, because she was about everything that ever happened in his career. Yeah. The character that Marlon Wayans plays and the character that Chris Tucker plays, that they had to be very prominent to the story because they were the people that really made it happen.
Correct.
Because Marlon Wayans' character is the first person that talked to Michael Jordan about Nike, because he was not Nike at all. And then Chris Tucker had a connection to the family from his previous basketball playing days before he was in working for Nike. So they were very important parts of the story. And the whole thing is told from the story of the Nike company, which mostly Matt Damon and Viola Davis and their kind of partnership to bring it forward. So you have Michael Jordan there, but you don't. Yeah. And I thought that was smart because
it's not necessary.
But it's smart
for the part of the story.
It's there, but you get the feeling of it. And then I think you saw the same thing. Ben Affleck made a point of there's no way you can cast someone to play Michael Jordan and anybody believe that's Michael Jordan.
Right.
Because we know that's not Michael Jordan. Now, if he had, God forbid, if he was dead, it's probably a little easier to buy into. But Michael Jordan's still out there in the ether, you know, and it's like, there's no way that's Michael Jordan. And I really applaud the creativity of making this whole thing about Michael Jordan and not about Michael Jordan at all.
Yeah. It's not. It's about the shoe. I thought it was interesting because we find out a lot of like first time things that were happening. So the whole marketing to one player, creating a whole shoe line about them, going against regulations of what shoes should look like to be play worthy on court, him wanting a piece of the sales, dealing with the mom instead of the age. I mean, there's so many things that they did that just seem so crazy that now I think is so common, but I just thought it was so cool. I mean, this movie highlights a lot of first time things that were happening. And you never think there's something inventive is going to happen in the shoe industry. But, you know, the guy that made the design and made the shoe, the prototype shoe, he was saying like shoe design has not changed since like the Middle Ages when they suddenly created a left and a right shoe. That was the last big thing. Yeah. Like shoes are the same thing. You know, and I thought it was interesting when he said that because I actually have a pair of shoes from like Morocco.
From the 1800s?
No, but from Morocco, where it's old world shoes. They are the exact. There is no left and right. They're just one shoe. You have two of the same feet. You know, and I just thought it was interesting. He was like, oh, I actually know what he's talking about. because how do you make shoes exciting? But this really was. It was actually really kind of on the edge of your seat, kind of. Are
On the
they?
edge of your sheets.
You're like, are they going to do it? Are they not? Like, what's going to happen?
On the edge of your sheets, and are they going to do it? What is happening over here?
Seat.
Someone's clearly in the mood.
Seat. No, but like it was like kind of, it was very exciting.
It is.
And I was just like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? I was getting a little stressed there for a second.
Well, it's interesting, and to me, that's a testament to good filmmaking and good performances, because for you to get excited about people making a shoe.
Yeah. I mean, I'm excited about shoes. I got 100.
Yeah, there's a difference between being excited about getting a pair of shoes and getting excited to watch somebody make a shoe.
I'm excited about both because I come from a family of cobblers.
Oh, here we go again.
She
doesn't know a single person in her family.
My entire cousins and my uncles made shoes for a living. That's what they did.
I keep saying that. There's been never. No
they did. Like I went and I put my foot down and they measured my foot and made me shoes.
I can do that in the living room.
They made shoes.
Anyway, she says that. Nobody believes her.
Yes, they used to.
We ain't got a cut of the shoe industry.
No, I got in on the shoe industry. Anyways, okay.
Anyway, no, it's really well done. It's funny. It's heartfelt. It's deep at times.
It is, man.
I was surprised how much it kind of went into some of the darkness of Michael Jordan's history, and it was done very intelligently because there's a moment where there's a speech given talking about Michael's legacy. And what it does is this comes with the editing and the vision. I have to say, with the editor and Ben Affleck.
I think of Ben Affleck
because as he's telling
smart
telling the story, you got to remember this is young Michael Jordan. He's just barely
nothing
in the
has happened
NBA.
Yet. Okay,
I don't even think he stepped on a court yet. And as they're telling the story, it's showing all the news footage, the clips of his career, and kind of matching it to the words, like, you're gonna take things to new heights, and it shows Michael Jordan flying through the air, and it talks about you're gonna go through tragedy, and it talks about stuff with his dad and scandals and different things that have happened. And it was interesting. It kind of gave you an entire look at Michael Jordan's career through flashbacks, and a speech the guy has given to him about his life and who he's going to be is important. Yeah, it was very clever.
It was very well done.
It's an excellent movie. I think this movie deserves some award recognition, but I'm afraid it's not going to get it because it's so early in the year.
I hope it's remembered.
You never know. But usually it's kind of hard sometimes when you're in like the first 2-3 months of the year to really find that place.
I'm just going to tell you something. That Ben Affleck knows how to make a good movie.
He does.
He really does. No matter what you say.
He does. Anyway, and
he's still so buff up top.
Yes,
but skinny on the bottom.
But
it's there.
Era's in theaters now. It's an excellent, excellent movie.
It is.
Whether you like sports, whether you like Michael Jordan or not, it doesn't
you don't
matter.
have to know anything. And you don't have to know anything. I didn't know anything.
It's a great movie.
It was really good. All right, babe. Over to you.
All right. And Air was also the number 2 movie in the box office.
Nice. Wait. We didn't talk about that.
What?
That one you just had up there.
I know. I know that. I know that's next. I'm leading into that.
Oh, sorry.
Calm down, sister. I know what's happening. I'm like you.
Let's edit myself.
I'm trying to find it real quick.
I feel like I need to turn the light. I need more lighting. I don't have enough light.
It opened above expectations at like 14 million for its 3-day haul, and 20 million since Wednesday. Oh, wow. So it dawned on me why everything was open on Wednesdays, because it's Easter weekend. So they open on Wednesday to get a longer box office weekend because they know people have Good Friday off. They have Sunday. They're going to probably be busy, so give them more time to go to the movies and whatnot. So it actually did really well, and I'm glad to hear it because it's just one of those kind of movies that could have easily got lost under the radar or lost in thin air.
What was number 1?
The number 1 movie that exceeded all expectations across the board is the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Wow.
Which it is, it is now claims as the highest grossing animated opening of all time at the global box office. What? Had beat the previous champ, which was Frozen 2.
Good.
It has knocked down a Disney movie. It is estimated at around $377 million in the 5-day week.
Well, that's good because Frozen's not that great, guys.
That is not the only thing it's done. It is also the highest opening weekend for a video game-based movie. It took in 146 million, obliterating Sonic 2, which was last year. Yeah. It's also the highest 5-day opening ever for a film released on a Wednesday, with 246 million, beating the previous champ that was Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen.
Wow.
So
everybody was watching Mario.
Yeah, apparently so. It's hit a bunch of stuff, and let me tell you,
Is
The
it
movie
good?
is awesome.
Okay.
It
cool.
is a
I'm
fun
excited.
movie. It doesn't matter if you know.
I know nothing about Mario.
It's the same company that the Illumination that makes Despicable Me and all that stuff. But it's a fun flick. It's an interesting direction of how they did the story for people worried about the voice controversy that we had. I know even John Lake was almost throwing a temper tantrum about
okay.
non-inclusion of the voice for the movie because I guess I don't know if they got real Italians or whatever, but this is also the guy that played Luigi and he's a Puerto Rican. So I'm not going to say anything. I love the guy, but this is an empty argument as far as I'm concerned.
Well, he wanted more brown people.
I get it, but this movie doesn't okay, the only brown person in here that wouldn't be Italian or just a white person would be Donkey Kong. Do you want a brown person playing Donkey Kong?
No, that's kind
of say, hey, we cast a brown person as the monkey.
No.
Do you think that would go well?
No.
No. So we have Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong.
That's funny.
But you have Chris Pratt and who is it? Charlie Day? Is that who it is? I don't remember now. I don't remember who plays Luigi.
But they don't do stereotypical.
But they don't.
Right?
They don't. They're more of a Brooklyn accent.
Very cool.
They're still talking like this. You know, that was just not the really hardcore thing. But there is a funny moment at the beginning. Yes, Charlie Day. There is a funny part at the beginning of the film where you see like a commercial for their plumbing company.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Hello, I'm Mario," and it's doing the voice.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to them, and they're like, "You think it was too much?" It's like, you know, that's what the people think we sound like, you know. And so it plays on that thing, so it's there.
So they did it.
They acknowledge its existence. And then they do a full. You get to see Mario and Luigi's family. Nice. So you see his mom, the dad, his brothers, and they all have mustaches, and you know, so it's really funny. And then it has an interesting way of sucking them into the world of Princess Peach and Bowser and all the stuff that's going on in Donkey Kong. It's a fun flick, man. I think what was the smartest thing about it, outside of just being, you know, whatever Mario in that universe, is it seemed to infuse a ton of different variations of the game. You know, you got Mario Kart, you got Super Mario Brothers, you got there's one where Mario is wearing like a fox outfit and his tail spins like Sonic and he flies around or whatever. I don't remember what game that is. Anyway, you get a lot of that stuff in, and then they do things where it cuts to the side and you're watching him run through the city. But as he's running, he's jumping over stuff and hitting things and doing stuff. So it's like you're watching gameplay, but it plays into the thing. So I like the movie a lot. I thought it was a blast. It's beautiful. It's vibrant. It's colorful. It's funny. It's got some heart. You get some darkness too, because like Mario and Luigi are separate for most of the movie. Because Luigi gets captured, so he's in like Bowser's dark world. It's like ghosts and spirits and skeletons, and then Mario's on the other side. So it's got a whole thing, and then it does have 2 credit scenes. It has a mid-credit scene that is really just a funny thing for Jack Black to do. Then it has an after-credit scene, because Jack Black does the voice of Bowser, the big dinosaur thing.
Yeah.
Then there's an after-credit scene that is kind of the tease of what's to come, which, according to this box office, there's no way in hell we ain't getting a Super Mario Brothers 2.
Yep.
And if they're smart, that's how they'll be advertising this thing. They'll be going by the game names. So if they did like Super Mario Brothers 2, then they could eventually go into like Super Mario Brothers, Mario Kart, and do a whole thing about racing, because they infuse Mario Kart in this as well.
Nice.
So it'd be interesting if you take the gameplay names, make the names of the movies, and then do different things with them.
That'd be fun.
I love the movie. I thought it was a blast.
Cool. I'm excited to see it.
It's in theories. It's in theaters now. Obviously, everybody's seen it. Let's see if it holds up. So go check it out.
Obviously, everyone and their mama went. So you might as well go.
It plays the music too. It was great. And then it even showed the original gameplay thing at one point, a little digital thing. Yeah. It was fun. It was a blast.
Okay. There you go. Check it out.
And that's what's happening.
All right.
Is it my turn again?
It's your turn, sir.
All right, let's show. There's not a whole, I mean, there's a lot coming out, but not a lot of new stuff. It's a lot of re-release type stuff. Flashdance is getting the 4K treatment. A movie I love is getting the Criterion Collection 4K, The Fisher King.
Oh.
Have you ever seen The Fisher King with Robin Williams and Jeff Bridges, where Robin Williams is like that homeless person, but he claims to be like a knight or something like that. He's kind of, but you don't know if he's crazy or if he's actually from.
I don't know. I've not seen that.
It's a Terry Gilliam movie. I love that movie. I've been forever since I watched it. It's very sad. Baby Oopsie 3, Burn Baby Burn is coming out.
What does that even mean?
Baby Oopsie? You know about Baby Oopsie?
Nah.
That's from Full Moon, the same people that do Puppet Master and
Oh, okay.
all those. Baby Oopsie is just one of the different characters. House of a Thousand Corpses is getting the 20th anniversary edition.
Has it been that long?
It has been 20 years since
What?
Rob Zombie made his feature film debut, The House of a Thousand Corpses. Holy crap, you're old.
You're old.
Bless the Child, the Kim Basinger thriller from whatever is getting a Blu-ray treatment. A Heart of Dragon, which is a Jackie Chan Sammo Hung old school flick, is getting the Blu-ray treatment or whatever. Infinity Pool is getting a limited release, I'm assuming Blu-ray and whatever, which we still haven't checked that one out.
Yeah, we need to watch that.
Some movie called One Fine Morning, I don't know what that is, and some other called Amnesia, I've already forgotten. That's pretty much that's the big stuff.
Okay. Well, coming out at the theater or online, there are a lot of things happening this week. So,
we didn't talk about Celebration.
Oh, well, let's talk about Celebration first.
So if you don't know, really we didn't get to go this time. So this weekend was, I got a hair in my mouth.
Star Wars
Celebration. Star Wars Celebration. This time it was in London. We actually had planned to go, and then we ended up doing the Star Cruiser, and then we have another trip planned, or 2 trips planned this year. So we opted to save the money and do something different instead of going to this again. But by golly, one of these days we're going to get to the Celebration Europe. Hopefully, I don't know if they've announced the next one or not yet. I didn't hear.
If they do, we need to buy our tickets now.
So we want to go ahead and get on the anyway. But with Celebration comes lots of new Star Wars announcements. I don't know if you know about all of them. So I don't know. Throw it all out there.
Throw it at me, buddy.
They did release the first trailer, or the new trailer, full trailer, whatever you want to call it, for Ahsoka, the new series.
Yes,
it's hitting Disney Plus in August. And through the trailer, you see that we're getting live action adaptations of Rebels. We got Hera, we got Sabine, we got Chopper. Somebody else has already shown up, but it's not cut up on The Mandalorian, so I don't want to spoil it for you. So we're already getting to see a lot of the characters. They announced the guy that voiced Grand Admiral Thrawn in the series will be reprising the role in live action.
I like when they do that.
Lars Mikkelsen, I believe is the name. I don't know if he's related to Madge or not.
Let's go look.
Then we are getting a new season of the Tales of the Jedi, which was a short form series where all the little episodes were like 11 minutes, 7 to 11 minutes or whatever, that focused on young Ahsoka and young Count Dooku.
Right.
Before he became grown Ahsoka and Darth Tyrannus. And so those were them, and they're very like in the vibe of the Clone Wars. So we're getting a new season of that. They announced a new trilogy of films that's going to jump ahead. I think it said like 15 years or 5 years or something like that. Daisy Ridley is coming back as Rey, but she will be playing a Jedi Master in one film, from what they said, who is trying to rebuild the Jedi Order. So she's not the focal point of the new story. So for all the people that are throwing temper tantrums, a female in Star Wars. Anyway, she's coming back, so that's exciting news.
Lars Mikkelsen is the brother of Mads
brother.
Mikkelsen.
Okay. Oh, so now they're both in the Star Wars universe.
And it's funny because one of his kids' names is just Thor. Because that just seems like
normal. Well, that's a normal name.
Yeah, it's a normal over there.
Sweden?
Denmark.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm excited.
And then what else did we hear? Oh, they did say that it sounds if I understood the story correctly, it doesn't sound like there's going to be another season of Mandalorian, but instead they're going to get a feature film of Mandalorian to wrap up the show.
Nice.
And Dave Filoni's going to get to direct it.
Dave Filoni.
So he's finally getting his Star Wars movie to direct. If I understood the story right. There's a lot of other stuff in development. They talked a lot about the Acolyte.
Yes.
Which it takes place way before anything.
There were tons of interviews about that.
Yeah.
So many great people in that show.
And one of the coolest things that come out of that was the guy, and I never remember his name.
I'll go find it.
The guy that plays Jonas something or other, that plays Chewbacca now.
Yes.
He took over for the late Peter Mayhew. He is going to be in the Acolyte, which you think, oh, Chewbacca, the Wookiees are really old, because this movie's like I think in the High Republic era, which is way before that. And so my first thought when he brought him out that he was going to play Chewbacca as a young man, young Wookiee, because they live hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. But he is playing a brand new character,
different
who is a Wookiee still, but he is a Jedi. So
I've always wanted to see.
He said it was weird because he wore clothes and he gets to use a lightsaber.
Because we've seen it in, I think maybe
Clone
it's one
Wars
of the.
And Bad Batch both have.
I'm just saying
the kid, Jedi,
the child that are in training at the academy
so
or whatever. So we know it exists. I'm excited about this guy being in
Oh yeah, the
Acolytes.
guy from Squid Game who's also an
Lee
acolyte.
Jung-ji,
Yeah.
yeah, who we know from Squid Games, and he was just the cutest little thing. He was so
Well, his
excited,
translator and
and he
everything.
had his translator. But every once in a while, you hear him Star Wars and lightsaber because there's no translation for that, you know. And he's just like, of course, when they said it was Star Wars, I said yes. He's like, do I get to use a lightsaber? You know what everyone wants, and I'm excited for him. I wonder how his character is going to interact since he doesn't speak English. But I think that's the great thing about the Star Wars universe. You don't have to.
No,
There's so many
he
languages.
can speak
He can
Korean
speak whatever.
and just translate it into
Yeah.
something else.
And
so.
yeah, exactly. I'm
Or he
excited
could
for
have
him.
learned his lines in English and just
He
did his
probably
lines.
could and didn't feel comfortable talking in front
Yeah.
of thing, because that's the other thing that I thought was interesting watching these interviews. You could go back and watch it, by the way. It's on YouTube. A lot of these people that are new to the Star Wars verse, or younger people or people who are just being there, they walk out on the stage and it's overwhelming. I think we've been there in person.
Did I tell you or show you?
And they're all just like
Dave Filoni crying.
Yes.
He was on stage just talking about thanking everybody, and because he got started on it with the Clone Wars series. They did the original Clone Wars series, the 2D animation, the micro series, which was Genndy Tartakovsky, whatever, the creator of Dexter's Laboratory and Primal, and he also did the Hotel Transylvania movies and stuff. So when they recreated it, Dave Filoni came on with his famed Indiana Jones fedora. He's now shifted to a cowboy hat. And he was kind of a nobody. We got to meet him years ago back when Clone Wars was starting. So it was still just, hey, free autograph, Dave Filoni, please talk to me,
Yeah, exactly.
And now he's like, him and Jon Favreau.
There's no way he would ever be out there.
Yeah, him and Jon Favreau are like the gatekeepers to the universe now, on some level. And he was talking about how not only does it mean so much from he's a fan, and it's always been noticed because his favorite character is R5D4. He is the voice of Chopper, which we didn't know until the series originally ended. He announced at Celebration that he was the voice of Chopper. It never said, but on the show it always just said, and Chopper as Chopper kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things where he's talking to the fans and he's like looking around and see how much work they put into the costumes, whether you put on a full costume or you're just wearing a simple t-shirt, how much you care and how much you love and how much passion you have for it. And then I get to do this. He goes, if I wasn't doing this, I'd be standing down there with you yelling just like the rest of you.
It was really
He started
good.
crying. It was awesome. So
yeah.
But no, it's a lot of stuff came out. There's a lot of new figures. There's a lot of new games. There's the sequel to was it Fallen Jedi or whatever that one was with Dominic Monaghan with Cal Kestis. I always forget the name of the game. Anyway, they got the follow-up game as either coming out or whatever, release or whatever. Palpatine made a surprise appearance in the new game. That was another funny story. Ian McDermott was talking about somebody would yell at him at one time in the park, and somebody's like Senator, and he goes, "I believe you mean Supreme Chancellor."
Awesome.
And he said the guy just kind of got giddy and excited.
It's exciting. It really is. And I mean, when you're there, it's for a second, it's overwhelming.
It is.
And then you get into your groove. And then I think it's funny because eventually you see your people. You see like the people that are dressed like you, or you got all the same t-shirt from Target, or, just random things, and what people are attracted to, and just the random, like the random background character number 5 that you have to get the autograph, but then there's 100 people standing in line with you.
Well, I was telling somebody today a story about Ahmed Best and how he was, nice. And I'll circle back to why we were talking about it, because it was actually, I thought it was funny too and ironic. But Ahmed Best played Jar Jar Binks. He's the voice. He played him physically, everything. And when those prequels came out, he got death threats. He was hated. It's the most hated character in Star Wars universe, blah, blah, blah. To the point where, like, he'd gotten super depressed. There's a little mini documentary about him almost committing suicide. And, and now he did that game show where he played a Jedi, right?
Yeah.
And he came back, and I always told everybody for years, if he would ever, because he wouldn't do conventions, the few conventions that talked to him, one of my friends that deals with, we almost got him at one point, but he said he'd only do it if he had like 5 or 6 bodyguards, because he feared for himself. He figured Star Wars fans are going to rip off, and no Star Wars fans wants to talk to him. And I always said if he ever does a convention, he's going to have the biggest line. And we had Celebration that year in Chicago, I think it was. He had like a 2 to 4 hour wait every day from people signing up. People loving him, telling him how much they care about him, and thank you for
It's so
coming and loving him.
nice.
It reminded me very much of the Brendan Fraser thing of as embracing. And Hayden Christensen was like that, where everybody talked
Mm-hmm.
about so much trash. I was cracking up and angry at the same time because in one of they did a look back at the Obi-Wan series, and Hayden was there, and somebody's like, "We love you, Hayden," and I'm like, let's sink back to 1990s to 2020s,
Yeah, when you hated
where all
everyone.
they did was bash him, and now he's like beloved. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking, with Ray and all these other ones, give 10, 15, 20 years, they'll love you, just like everybody else.
No, but there's still the fans that will always love
I
everything.
know, they're
It's
just angry. But there's a lot of new shows coming out. Oh, there's also, I don't know if you know about this one, there's another show, I think it's a series, not a movie, called The Skeleton Crew coming out. It's
I'm
got Jude
excited about
Law, who
that.
plays a Jedi.
Well, I love me some Jude
But
Law.
this one is actually about a group of children. And they said it's very much like the old Amblin movies, like The Goonies, that kind of stuff, where they're kind of exploring the universe with this Jedi and doing stuff. So it's a whole different vibe. And the funny is, I believe the director and/or creator is John Watts, I believe his name is. He was the director of the Spider-Man movies, and I believe it was on Far From Home where they told the story. They said that this series came about on the set of Spider-Man because John Favreau was in the Spider-Man movies, and he pitched the idea to him while shooting Spider-Man, and it became this series. And it's very much a nod to the Steven Spielberg Amblin Entertainment stuff. So it's a whole nother vibe. And that's something I'm excited for. So we got a lot of new stuff coming out. No news on if new Book of Boba Fett or it doesn't sound like we're getting another season of Obi-Wan, at least right now.
Yeah.
A lot of the other movie ideas that have been talked about they've kind of been not fully put away. They're kind of put on hiatus. The Rogue Squadron, they announced it was going to be what's her face? They did Wonder Woman. That was a big deal celebration a few years ago. That's been kind of canceled right now. There was another trilogy that's been canceled, so it is what it is. But a lot of fun stuff, a lot of new toys, new games, collectibles.
You can get on there and buy some merchandise. So
yeah, we're getting well. Sometimes it depends. Sometimes you can't buy the merchandise unless you have a ticket. So you can look at it, but you can't actually purchase unless you had a ticket there.
It shows it on here.
Also, Star Wars Visions, which is the anime stuff, is going to get a new season as well. So I'm excited for that. Well, yeah, it says you can purchase. You look at it, but then when you click on it, it tells you you need to have a ticket because you got to log in.
Oh.
That's why I was telling you. You have to have a ticket to buy it because it's exclusive. That's why we already have stuff bought.
Scams.
Anyway.
All right.
Another Star Wars celebration is coming on. Lots of fun information. Not quite as much as I'd hoped, but we also just had a Star Wars celebration like middle of last year. So it's not that long.
It needs to be every 2 years.
We'll see what happens.
All right.
All right. Moving on. What's coming out?
All right. Coming out on the line or at theaters. There is a lot happening, friends. So coming to Shudder on Tuesday is a movie called Cube. There have been several of these Cube movies where people wake up inside a maze and they have to find their way out, but each one has a trap and people die throughout the course of it.
Is this part of the same franchise?
It is.
Or is it a remake?
No, I think it's the Cube film thing. So there was Cube, Cube 2, Cube 0,
I love the Cube,
and now we have Cube. So I don't know.
Hold on, is this the 2021 one just now getting released?
Yes, I believe it is. So
it is part of that franchise.
It's part of the franchise. Yes, this is the Japanese Cube version.
Yeah, I mean, I know about the Cube franchise.
It is a remake of the original Cube, I believe, but it's a Japanese version.
The one on Shudder is?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
But
so like we did the Grudge, this is a Japanese version.
Correct. But I mean, there could be an infinite number because Cube 0 was the prequel, Cube 2 was the sequel. So I think you could have ultimate, infinite versions of Cube of people getting kidnapped and waking up in this weird thing. You have to find your way out. Coming on video demand and digital, a movie called Black Bags. It's these two ladies who are on a bus trip and they accidentally switch bags. Or did they? Because one of them turns out to be a killer. Craziness ensues. A movie also coming out, El Houb. I don't know. It's a Moroccan Dutch man. Decides to tell his parents that he's gay. He's trying to come out. But confronting his family has some issues for him and difficulties and things. He's trying to just deal with it, I think, himself so that he can tell them. So I think it's going to be interesting to see that ethnic background play into the film. I think it'll be interesting. Coming out on Wednesday, the 12th, there's a one-day only Fathom event. It says that, but I think it's also playing on the 13th. So it's a 2-day Fathom event, a movie called Beautiful Disaster.
Sounds like our marriage.
It's about this girl who falls in love with this guy, and they make a bet, and craziness ensues. Okay, coming Thursday to Netflix, a movie called Obsession. It seems interesting. It's a 4-part limited series about obsession and forbidden desire. Do do do.
Oh, before you keep going too, since you're talking about miniseries, I just want to throw out
Yeah.
there. I just finished the new season of Picard.
Oh,
It is
I
outstanding.
love that show.
It is technically. Well, it's not, I didn't finish the season. I think it's got a couple more episodes, but I'm caught up to it. If you're not watching Picard, check it out. It's outstanding.
It's really good.
I think this is the final season, but it's really good.
Okay, then coming out Friday. Here's the big stuff at the theater: The Pope's Exorcist.
Exorcism. Oh no, it's Exorcist. Okay, sorry.
The Pope's Exorcist. This is based on a true person, Father Amorth, however you would say that, Gabriel Amorth, who was an Italian priest who was said to have performed over 100,000 exorcists for the Vatican based on his accounts of these events. Of course, they're going to take it and make it more scary. I think it has Russell Crowe and a bunch of people. I'm really scared, but I'm going to go watch it. I may try to watch it at nighttime, which makes me really scared.
No, we usually
want to watch it during the day.
We usually go at like 3 or 4, so
I'm scared.
You'll come out, it'll be nighttime.
Okay, then this one looks so fun. The movie Renfield. It's the one with Nicolas Cage, who's Dracula.
Nicolas Cage and Nicholas Hoult.
And yes, who is Renfield, his assistant.
It looks like it's. I've been waiting for this movie because ever since the big press tour of the Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, they announced in that they were making a movie, Renfield, and Nicolas Cage was going to play Dracula. I didn't expect it to be this movie.
It looks fun,
and I didn't expect it to get a big release. I thought it was going to be another
like
straight to video kind of thing. It looks awesome.
Okay, also coming out to theaters, a movie called Sweetwater.
I've been there.
Centered around Nat Sweetwater Clifton, the first African-American basketball player in the NBA. That's going to be interesting.
The first African-American?
Yes. So, there you go.
Okay.
Mafia Mama. Don't know how I feel about this. It's Monica Bellucci. It's a woman who inherits the mafia from her grandfather. So, it's the mafia empire. And
I think it's Toni Collette is the one that inherits it, though.
Oh,
if you look at the poster, she's the main.
Toni Collette, Monica Bellucci. Who else is in this?
I love Toni Collette, not so much Monica Bellucci.
I know, that's why I was like,
my problem, you
put that name first, it throws me off.
Do you know why I dislike Monica Bellucci so much? It's one movie has made me hate her. It's that Tears of the Sun movie. With that Bruce Willis movie. That's such a great movie, and she is such a pain in the ass in that movie.
Oh, well. Okay, so I think it's Toni Collette, you're right, that takes over. Suburban woman, so it's like probably suburban housewife, and suddenly she's running a mafia. We'll see if we believe it. Coming on video demand and digital, movie called One True Loves. She has to somehow, this makes no sense, choose between the husband she thought was dead and a new fiance.
Oh, you missed this trailer.
Yeah,
they showed this trailer when we went to the theater last week when you went to go to the bathroom.
Does it make sense?
It's one of the Asian people?
Yeah.
Yeah. She's with this guy, and then her long lost love comes back into the picture, and they're just hanging out.
And she thought he was
Then
dead.
It becomes like, which one should I be in? It's a stereotypical film.
Okay, coming to Netflix is a movie, The Last Kingdom, 7 Kings Must Die. This is a 2-hour movie. It seems like to wrap up that final season of The Last Kingdom. If that's a show that you watch on Netflix, it's following season 5. It's a 2-hour movie there.
I didn't watch it.
Following that. So it looks interesting. I don't watch that show either, but if you do, it looks really cool.
Scroll back up real quick. That Once Upon a Time in the Ukraine looks interesting. They're supposedly saying, but read the synopsis. Open it up and read it.
A Ukrainian serf, so he's a servant, named Taras, teams up with a samurai, Akayo, to get revenge on Akayo's master and to free his beloved Maria from a slave master. Okay.
Like, there's not the movie I thought it was going to be when it said Once Upon a Time in Ukraine. So I don't know.
There's samurai in Ukraine? Where
I don't know.
What time period?
But here's what's interesting is there's an entire series of movies that have used the Once Upon a Time in. Like there's a Once Upon a Time in China 1, 2, and 3 with Jet Li.
Okay, well maybe that's what we're doing.
I don't think it's part of that, but I think somebody just took a play on that title.
Okay.
Do their own thing.
Coming out on video demand and digital, a movie called Chantilly Bridge. It's a group of friends that reunite.
A little walk and a little bit of talk.
And you know
makes the world go round.
You know when you
and
get
nothing in the world like a big eye girls make me act so funny, make me spend my money.
Why do you know this song?
Because it's a Chantilly lace, a pretty face, a ponytail hanging down. This is what it feels like to talk to you 90% of the time of my day. You're getting it once. Just be happy. I get it all day long. Go ahead.
Chantilly
A
Bridge.
Chantilly lace. Go ahead.
It's a group of friends that reunite after not having seen each other for a while. And you know, when that happens, craziness is going to ensue, either good or bad, but something's going to happen with these people as they reconnect and share their history.
Oh, wouldn't I know Big Bopper?
I don't know. Are you that old?
Yeah.
Okay, that's about it, my friend.
All right. Well, let's jump into the giveaway stuff. And there's a couple of giveaways. We may do a little quick once over real fast because we got some classics that Warner Brothers is releasing on 4K for the first time ever. This year is actually the celebration of 100 years of Warner Brothers.
Nice.
So they're re-releasing a whole lot of classic films, award-winning films. I heard Enter the Dragon is going to get a new 4K release. A couple of other ones. So one of them, we have some giveaways for 3 of the new releases. One being Rebel Without a Cause, which I've actually rewatched all these. Some of these I didn't realize I had never watched all the way through. Like Rebel Without a Cause, I've never seen all the way through. I
don't think I've ever seen it either. So.
I thought I had seen this one, and I hadn't. And I saw I recognized the main scenes. You're tearing me apart and all that stuff. But I realized I didn't even know what the movie was about, and it's not what I thought it was. Not a fan of the movie. I don't think it's a great movie. I know that's probably going to upset people. I don't think it's a bad movie. It's a well-acted movie. It's an interesting movie, but it's kind of all over the place in the world of people hate each other, then they suddenly forgive each other, and then they're friends, and then they're not friends. It was too much and not a lot of cohesiveness for me. Maybe it was the way they made the movies at the time. I don't know. Anyway, we got giveaway copies of that on 4K and The Legend of Gotachaka.
Gatukacha.
I know, but I'm going to keep saying it the way ever I want. Also have another one that I realized, or another 2. One I'd never seen at all. The other one I knew about, but I thought it was a different movie altogether. The 4K release of Cool Hand Luke with Paul Newman before he made salad dressing. And this movie is excellent. I love this movie. This was a prison movie. I always thought Cool Hand Luke was a Western. I don't know why in my head.
I thought it was like a car racing movie.
No, that's more Rebel Without a Cause.
Huh.
And it's only one small scene in the movie. But I don't know why I always thought Cool Hand Luke was a Western with Paul Newman. But I guess because Paul Newman did a bunch of Westerns, or some Westerns, Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid and all that stuff. I don't know why, but I started looking at this movie. I'm like, this ain't no Western. This is a prison movie with him and George Kennedy, a young Dennis Hopper, young Dennis Hopper shows up in both Rebel Without a Cause and Cool Hand Luke. So young Dennis Hopper was running around doing a lot of stuff. I love this movie. It was really great. Paul Newman was great in it. The egg eating contest is iconic. So if you haven't seen it, it's worth checking out. And also the Maltese Falcon that we both watched.
We did watch it. It was okay. It was a little long, a little convoluted. I think for looking back at the time period, it's a little sexist because he's like, yeah, so. Doll, you're a good girl. Like, Pat,
Dave.
You're a good girl. You're a good Dave. And, I'm just like, really? So
it was one of those for the story that it is.
Okay.
I think that's the kind of movie that is needed for a remake.
It needs,
and I'm sure there's been other versions of it. I just haven't kept up with
it.
Because it's an interesting film.
It's like they're trying to solve this mystery, and then it kind of falls flat.
Yeah,
it's like, well,
it's another
happened?
One of those movies that's brilliantly acted. It's a set pieces are nice. The whole thing, because of the time period, is shot like a stage production.
Correct.
Which I always found very interesting and compelling.
Yeah.
And Humphrey Bogart is awesome in it. It's just.
You're a good guy.
Yeah, well, it's other than it's like one guy pulls a gun on him, he takes the gun away from him, smacks the guy around a little bit. Then a few minutes later,
he holds the gun, and then he's like, chop.
Oh yeah, he grabbed his hand like this and he chopped it. Like that doesn't even work that way. But
don't do that.
Sorry.
No, you need to chop it. Like, why would you grab it and then chop? Just chop it.
I know, but
whatever.
Anyway, either way, it still wouldn't work. But he takes the gun on the guy. He takes it away from him. He holds it on him. There's this hard dialogue. Then the guy gives him the guy's gun back to him because he's like, "Look, you're not dangerous." Then the guy pulls the gun on him again, and it's like
so dumb. And then I'm like, "Well, what happened to the Maltese Falcon, guys?"
It's just kind of It's one of those mysteries that
it's okay.
Is a frustrating mystery because it's so slow to get there.
If you're a fan, you're a fan.
But it is a classic. And I see why it's a classic. But we have copies of that on 4K to give away.
But the production and the way it was shot is nice. Yeah. I do like it.
And then, of course, the last 2 ever, something that we've had for on contest for a little while, Project Wolf Hunting, which still maintains the most bloody movie this year so far, and Code of the Assassins,
which I actually ended up liking. I did like the wire work. I liked kind of the supernatural element of that one
Yeah,
ghost
we did
character.
a whole show about this
I
already.
know. I'm just saying it's a good one. So
It
you
is.
want to get that
It's a good
movie.
flick. So go to our website at
HollywoodMatrimony.com.
and enter those contests. There'll be some new ones popping up soon.
There you go. Thank you so much for watching this week. We will see you next Sunday with more
We won't
movies.
see you, but you'll see us.
There you go. Check out our website, HollywoodMatrimony.com. Go find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Hive. That's
You have
everything.
hives?
Yes, that's
All right.
everything
Bye,
I'm supposed
people.
to say. We'll see you soon. Bye, friends.